Hi, guys.
Hi.
Welcome to the episode of Not So Like a Fire of a Boozy Botanical podcast.
You almost called it your other podcast.
Oh my God. I'm just shamelessly plugging my other show.
Oops, I meant to say.
I did it again, guys. Hello, Holly. It's
Hi.
nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. And welcome back, everyone.
Really quick, before we get into our hot topic today.
It's a hot topic for sure.
You guys will see. I was going to say, like, what have you been up to this week? But we've been up to some things as early as this morning.
Yes.
That I really want to talk about.
Yes.
I'll let you take it away. Where did you take me today?
Okay, I took Angelique for her first time ever to Rainforest Flora in Torrance. If anyone is local to LA, I'm sure you've at least heard of it.
Oh my
It's amazing.
God.
And we were able to meet Paul. He's so nice and so knowledgeable, and we were just geeking out with him.
He's the so for you guys who are like, I didn't do my vocal warm-ups, guys. Like, oh, such a bad actor. So we walk in. Let's set the stage. We walk in. You're like, this is the spot for air plants. And you told me about this place like a year and a half ago. And I never got to go.
It's this place for air plants. When you walk in, it really is like a rainforest. Like they have these rock formations, like waterfalls. It's a vibe. It is gorgeous. I would just love to just walk around there, you know?
It was amazing. So we saw this air plant. I usually say the size of Canada. It was the size of the universe.
Yes.
It was. I wish I knew exactly what it was called, but literally, like, these ceilings, we're like in a greenhouse. It must be at least 30 feet high.
It was
right?
suspended from the ceiling, and it was almost touching the ground.
4 feet before it touched the ground, I bet. 3 or 4 feet. And I was like, Holly, do you want a picture? So she's posing. We're being tourists. And this little old man comes up. Turns out his name is Paul. He like saw that we were geeking out. Yeah. And he was like just started talking plants with us.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
And then he's like, hey, do you want to go to our grower's greenhouse and check out these little, he was talking about the superbum.
I think so. Yeah.
Not air plants, but the staghorn fern, the superbums.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, for people who haven't been to Rainforest Flora, it's like the actual retail space where you can buy plants is very small. Like it's just the very front end of a greenhouse. And then you can see, sorry guys, my phone. And then you guys can see like behind all of that, a whole bunch of babies growing of everything under the sun.
Yeah.
But they have like 2 or 3 other greenhouses behind that totally off limits to the public. Cause it's just it's like a nursery literally to grow babies. And he took us backstage.
He did. He even showed us like where their shipping area is. It was so cool. And it was just so much fun to like really like connect with someone about plants. Like you can just tell it, like he was all lit up. He loved talking about it.
Like he showed us plants that for real over 50 years old.
And the coolest part about it was we got on the subject of Avatar, which if you guys don't know, I worked on that movie on the sequels for a couple years. He helped with developing the little awa creatures, if you guys are familiar. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this little Tillandsia here. It looks just like the little tree floating creatures from the first movie. And apparently that's from his plants where the inspiration came from. They
designed it based on his plants, and he like he knows people that were on the project. And then he was like, you were on the project. And
he was like, do you know Jim? I know Jim.
It was just really exciting. They were on a gym basis. So I was like, oh, I felt like, whoa, it was so exciting. And long story short, he gave us a tour of his whole operation. And yeah, we're going to really hope to, go back and form a relationship, because that was just
he was so kind.
Cool.
It was amazing. So we're just really excited about
that's what we've been up to this week. And I just realized, Holly, what are you drinking?
Yes. So because of all the excitement, I am drinking my liquid IV. I think you guys know by now, if you follow me on Instagram at Concrete Botanical, I'm always talking about my liquid IV. And though they are not sponsoring this, I really wish they were. So fucking good. Like not only does it help hangovers, I am so bad with drinking water.
Me too.
I'm such a baby. This is the only way I can drink water.
I actually love water. I just forget it exists. And you can tell I'm like breaking out, and I'm like, why am I breaking out? And it's like, oh, my face is drying out and I'm turning into a prune.
So we're drinking the passion fruit flavor. They have so many flavors, but I think this one's my favorite.
I like it a lot.
It's so good.
So sorry there's not alcohol in this, but literally thought we were going to pass out before this episode. We've been on the move all day today, and like starting the podcast 3 hours late, no big deal. Like, but we were
an impromptu nursery tour, so
the tour. It was like we couldn't cut this off. It was so special.
It was.
So yeah, so it was fun to kind of go off schedule a bit and just have fun.
It was worth it. We'll just say that.
Yeah. So we'll talk about it more maybe on a different episode. But
yes,
so cool. So if you're in the LA area or if you're visiting and you're a plant lover, go there for your air plants. Nowhere else is worth it.
Do yourself a favor. The other cool thing too is like they actually do. They send their air plants and bromeliads to Home Depots.
Nurseries around LA.
Yeah, they supply Home Depot.
They supply internationally, he said too.
Yeah,
they ship overseas. So like he is the spot. Mm-hmm. He wrote a book about tillandsias. Is that what they're called? Mm-hmm. Like he's like an author. He showed us all his work. So definitely worth checking out Paul from Rainforest Flora and all his beautiful things.
Yeah. But yeah, and then also we have a plant mommy today. Who's our plant mommy?
I'm so excited. So for any of you that may or may not listen to So I Got Fired, my one of the hosts on the show, my dear friend Marriah Carillio, she is a plant mommy this week.
Hi Marriah.
We love you. She is just such a badass human. I love Marriah so much. We've gotten very close over the years. And it's really exciting because I was getting into plants and then she sort of got into plants after me, kind of like Matt too.
Yeah. So she came to our first Boozy.
Yeah, she was at our first Boozy party. And
yes.
and like low key, she sent me a picture of her Boozy pot recently. And this is like 14 months after the fact.
Yeah.
And it is flourishing so much. Not everyone might be able to say the same, but hers is off the wall, blowing up. These bananas are trailing like crazy. She's doing so well. She just has a really natural green thumb, and her house now is turning into her own jungle. Every time I talk to her, she's like, just came back from downtown, got some more plants.
Oh,
like,
yes, that's right. Because she's by the flower market.
So she moved downtown, and like she lives like 5-minute drive from the market.
So lucky.
She's popping off, and in a good way. And Marriah, she's just a great plant mom, and she's a content creator as well. So besides working on So I Got Fired, I wanted to shout out a few projects that she has. It's called Love I Am, with two friends of ours, Patricia and Tiffany, both So I Got Fired alums. And Patricia used to be my roommate, so very in the family.
Yes.
It's on Instagram. It's at love3 I am, and it's like it's a project that they have all about like self-love and growing as a woman and all the good things. They were actually planning their first festival sort of conference event for last June, and then COVID hit. So they were going to do an in-person event for Love 3 I am. So, or Love I Am, I think is how you say it. It's Love I Am. My bad. It's spelled 3. Whatever. You understand what I'm trying to say.
The E is a 3.
Yes. And then Marriah is also working with a female collective called Loud Community, at Loud Community, if I'm not mistaken, on Instagram. And it's also a collective of women that are full of like empowerment. A lot of like Latinas are in this group as well. And we had the CEO of that company come on to So I Got Fired, and she's wonderful. So Mariah's gotten really involved with them, and she's working on a new podcast that they're doing a podcast series of some sort, and she's helping them out with that. So she has a lot of things going on. So follow her at Marriah Bob on Instagram with 2 R's in the middle. So MARRIAH Bob. And she's also really big on Clubhouse. So find her on there. I believe it's the same name, but you can find her at Marriah Carrillo. And I believe that's all the things. And she's also a photographer and graphic designer, if I'm not mistaken. And if I'm lying about you, like, it's only good things. So
we love you, Marriah.
We love you. Check out my girl. And now
for the topic.
It's a big hot topic, and this comes from you guys.
Yes. So we talked to you guys on Instagram. Basically, today's topic is, in quotes, rare plants. And
rare plants?
Trendy plants, botanically rare plants. What is the deal? So we do have a few actual plant IDs that we're going to talk about. But first, we're just going to run through just a few things to know when it comes to, I guess, or things to think about, really.
And what is a rare plant and what is botanically rare versus trendy rare, and kind of the, not necessarily drama around that, but kind of the, I guess, the attitudes and stuff around what's rare in the industry and what is seen to be rare, but isn't actually the definition of rare. So
yeah.
All the things.
So yeah, I mean, the first thing really, I guess we can dive into is botanically rare versus trendy, or things that are labeled rare. So something that's like botanically rare is going to be like a Spiritus Sancti, Monstera obliqua, yeah, things like that, you know? Yeah. And then you have your Albo Monstera, which there are like thousands of them, but
Albo's aplenty.
And that one's called rare, but it's more so trendy if you think about it.
Totally.
So there's that. And it's also interesting to see, like, when a quote rare plant is in such high demand, you know, there's a need for it. It's, you know, supply and demand, I guess you could say. Of course,
yeah.
And then they become like almost oversaturated. And then
I think the Monstera Albo has become oversaturated.
It has.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that the prices still keep going up. Whereas if you look at the Philodendron Birkin, for example, 2 years ago, that was like at least $100. And it was, you know, it was.
What size would you say ish?
Like the one I gave you.
Like a 6. Is that a 6 or an 8?
It's like a 6-inch. So, you know, a decent sized plant would go for like $150, $200, and it was very sought after.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She just handed me this thing 2 days ago being like, take it. And I'm like, all right.
Like, I'm trying to get rid of it.
I was like, I'll pay you in pennies and something. And you're like, just take it. And I was like, sorry, I'm just going to leave now.
It wasn't quite like that, but
I know.
Yeah, but now, dude, if you go to the
nurseries.
Oh yeah, if you go to Home Depot, if you go to nurseries, you can just find them. So it is a really interesting concept. I don't know if it's just like one person is in control of all the albos and they're holding on tight, and that's why they're all
sharing their secrets.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. So obviously, like I feel like even like beginners at this point, like everyone like kind of sort of has heard of this Monstera Albo. And you see the pictures. It's out of this world gorgeous when it's healthy, of course. But for me, my favorite is the Thai constellation. I like more that I feel like it's a more safe gamble because it's stable. But the thing is, what is the deal with that? Because I'm hearing rumors in the rumor mill that if you wait until like either, I don't know if it was supposed to be for 2021 or for 2022, it's going to show up at Costa Farms in bulk, and it's going to be like you can buy it at Lowe's potentially.
Right. So I guess Costa Farms is putting out, it was supposed to be 2021, but because of COVID, now it's 2022.
Damn.
Yeah, they're basically just really mass producing these, and they should be hitting Lowe's.
It's like rare question mark. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because for me, my dream is to have this plant, but it's also like, I'm not dropping $400, especially now I'm hearing that it's going to be like potentially, what, $30 or less or more?
I'm not sure if they are going to have it be cheaper. Are they going to have it around the $50 range? Like, who knows? But it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy too, because albos used to be around the 300 range, and now depending on size and if they want to call it mint, sometimes they can go. I saw like a mint Monstera recently go for like 15,000 or something like that. Like
100 or 1,000?
1,000.
Jesus, that's like over a year of college when I was in school.
I know.
Jesus Christ. So let's talk mint business.
Okay, yeah. So that was, so if we want to get into all the different categories of, you know, different, what they call rare, mint is one of them. And it's under what I have in my notes here under variegation. It can be kind of a what's the word? Controversial topic.
Controversial.
And we're not even drinking. What the heck?
It's called dehydration.
So yeah, because honestly, I think mint is more of like, I don't know if it's like an accidental mutation in the variegation, but I think a lot of times albos can look mint just based on like the marbling effect, you know?
Does it literally look like a minty color? Minty sort of, like it's not white. I think I've seen it's like a very soft green amongst the dark green of the leaf, right?
Correct.
Right, like mint.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can see a difference for sure. It's just I think what people try to get away with calling mint aren't always mint. So I know like the Philodendron Florida Ghost, for example.
Ooh, yes.
That's just a Florida Ghost, right? It starts white and it kind of fades into a minty green and then turns green. So if someone wants to slap another label and call it a Philodendron Florida Ghost mint, that's kind of bullshit.
You heard it here first, folks.
That's not.
Holly's popping off.
It's not a mint. That's just what it is.
It's just its color journey. That's what I want to call it.
Like color journey. That's cute.
Well, like think about it.
True.
Like, what's a good example? Like the rubber tree I had for the rubies. What's it called? The
ruby.
Like, it looks like it's dark leaves.
Yeah.
But they come in red or Prince of Orange. They come in orange and then
they fade to green.
To me, that's just they fade into their permanent color. I wouldn't be like
or your
Prince
red
of Orange.
Tangerine.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or same like the red crystallinum. The new leaves come out red and they kind of hold on to their red color and then they fade. So anyways.
So it's just a change. It's just a journey.
So if you want to continue on to the different like rare categories, we have botanically rare, as we mentioned. We have variegated. One of those is mint. Sometimes you get pink. You get white and yellow. And then they have another thing that's been kind of going around, and that is the sport variegation. So what I've looked up on sport variegation is it's a natural sort of mutation, right? Like a genetic mutation. And then I think a lot of times the like plant nurseries like Gabriella Plants, their Rio Sport, I believe was like an accidental mutation. And then they've just propagated a bunch off of that. So that is my understanding. If you guys know more, obviously leave it in the comments on our Instagram and, we can keep chatting about it. But
email us, boozybotanicalpodcast@gmail.com.
That too. Then we have our splashy. Now this mainly goes with Hoya. So if you guys are familiar with the Hoya carnosa gray ghost, there's also
Pubicalix. Publicalyx, right?
No, that's a the Publicalyx is a Publicalyx and the Carnosa is a Carnosa.
Here I am trying to like fill Holly in on Hoyas when I have one and she has like 85. Holly, you're forgetting this one.
No, it's okay. Because that one I have is very splashy. But if you guys look at the hashtag gray ghost, which you probably already have, but it's completely gray. Super gorgeous. There's the Nova ghost. There's like a New Guinea something ghost. I don't know.
What the hell are all these plants? I don't even know. Wow.
It's really gorgeous. So those are just kind of like your categories.
Who do you think chooses these names?
Well, sometimes I think they name it after the person who either found it or described the plant or I think that's how it goes.
Wow. I'm just like, I feel like I like to think someone's sitting there in Thailand on like a big hill with a huge desk and just scribbling out like different plant name ideas.
I'm wondering too, like the Hoya Thomsonii. Who's Tom? Like, who's Thomas?
Sonii? Sonia? Question mark? I don't know.
Well, they always add like I like Bordenii.
But I wonder which language that originates from.
Latin?
I don't know. I mean, at least in Portuguese, I don't often see like double I's or anything.
True. So maybe that's something else. But I know a lot of botanical names are typically Latin.
Yeah.
So
good point.
Let
us know. That's actually, I'm going to look into that and maybe talk about it the next episode. That's interesting.
And that's pretty much all I have for like main categories. Now, I do think it's interesting when you see people who it's mainly like aeroid enthusiasts can be a little snobby sometimes. And when I say snobby, I mean they just love what they love. So in regards to like plant trades and stuff, like some of my biggest flex are my Hoyas. But if you're not into Hoyas and I like offer like, what about like if I had my Obscura. I've done tons of trades with that, but people who are not Hoya people are like, no.
And they're like, hey, I've worked really hard on it.
Or they'll say like, I don't like Hoyas. Like they act like it's a succulent.
How dare they? I love succulents. That's where I thrive.
But I think you get what I'm saying.
Right. They're kind of just like, it's just a whatever. Like it's simple.
Yeah.
Which is so rude. Don't say anything simple.
Or it's just not their cup of tea, but there's a little bit of an elitist vibe, I get.
So it's all up, and this comes with just normal human decency. It's the way you say things.
Yeah.
You can be like, thank you, but I'm actually more into this. Instead of being like, I don't
totally
like
fair.
them.
It's totally fair. I get it.
No, but like learn how to talk, Angelique's
going off.
I just think like I like to think I'm a really polite person. So I'm just like, don't be rude. Insensitive, maybe. Maybe I'm a child. I don't know.
But I was thinking, like, you know, when we were talking about doing a episode on rare plants, the whole plant snob thing, where I can understand, though, because sometimes you just want to find something a little bit more interesting.
Totally.
After you've been collecting for a little while, it's more so like sometimes the hunt is kind of fun. You know, like I want...
We talked about before.
And I want rare plants to be accessible. So like having a Thai constellation at Lowe's would be so amazing. Sometimes the hunt is fun.
Well...
And the thing is too, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'll wait till we get on to gloriosums to talk about the hunt.
One other quick thing. One other quick thing, because if Thai constellations do become so much cheaper, let's just say somebody invested $300 and their intent was to, hey, maybe I can sell a piece here and there. Then you're kind of like in the hole, you know? It's kind of like currency.
It is. It's plant currency. And it's interesting because I don't know who here knows about your Thai story, but you traded a pink princess, right?
For this
gorgeous, huge, super variegated and fenestrated rooted Thai with a few roots, but then it rotted and you were just left with the little stump. This is all since you've lived in this.
This is all new. Yeah. We have it in front of us.
Big. It was huge. But like... It's so special at the same time because even though you dealt with that like leaf loss, you brought this. The last owner didn't do any of this.
Yeah,
you know,
this was all under my care.
So like, and the fact I feel like Chase in terms of like you were like I have this and I'm gonna use it to get that and that I imagine is very special. It's not like you just went into Lowe's and you were like, let's get that. And I mean, that's me. Like I do that all the time. And I really enjoy when I can find something special at Lowe's or Home Depot that's affordable. But I feel like I can understand the rush, the adrenaline rush of that as well. Because remember you told me, you were like, I didn't think it was going to be nearly this big when you showed up to do your trade.
For sure.
So I can understand that too.
Yeah. But, you know, it's really interesting, like just to get people's like opinions on this kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. You know, it's always kind of changing. Like prices change. And it is so surprising the plants that become expensive and the ones that completely just become sort of like second nature, like the Birkins, you know?
And so, you said you got your pink princess for like next to nothing a few years ago.
Well, funny enough, I paid $50 and at the time it was still a good deal. But like, I guess in 2017, people would find them at nurseries for like $10. And then Enid from NSC Tropicals, she often said that like people didn't want them. Like she had a whole bunch, but like people never bought them.
Wow. Even with the pink variegation?
Yeah, I guess.
That's insane.
Which is pretty crazy.
Wow. And you know, we were talking about, I don't want to go too much on a tangent, but the Silver Glory today as well. And I feel like, again, I guess things are regional too. Like you were saying how in the UK it would probably be really affordable, but then here it's just, I mean, I guess supply and demand.
Same thing with Anthurium clarinervium. I've noticed like in the UK or France, and I see it a lot more in people's homes as more like and I've been told it's more accessible out there. So it's very interesting to think about, you know?
Yeah. I know you said like, of course you want plants to be accessible to everyone. Do you think that there needs to be some plants that are harder to get, even if it fluctuates, like which ones are tough at the time? Because I guess it's a business, so that's the tough thing, you know?
I feel like the only thing that plants shouldn't be, I guess, quote, accessible is like if a plant is endangered, then maybe we should do our best to preserve it. But I don't know if that's answering the question exactly.
I don't think it's an easy question to answer. Like that's kind of hard, right?
Yeah, but I guess that kind of goes into some of our plants that we're going to talk about.
So we reached out to you guys on Instagram. We did a little question box, and it was like, what rare plants would you like us to talk about? And while there were many, we chose a couple just for the sake of time that we wanted to highlight and discuss. Like, are they straight up rare, like botanically rare, or are they trendy kind of rare, like the way the albo has been treated for a long time?
And just kind of talking about their care needs, what we think of them, and I want to get your opinion on some of these too.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, plant number 1 on this, we have the variegated. You heard this right. Variegated Philodendron Heterasium. Now that is your heartleaf philodendron. And no, this is not Brazil, not variegated as in Brazil.
I'm trying to think of it.
Well, it's right over here.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God, should I grab it? I'm going to grab it.
Yeah, grab it.
Keep talking.
So, yes, a few people were wanting us to talk about this one. This is one of my favorite ones too. I love this. And what I love about it is, as I mentioned, it is a philodendron, but the color markings resemble that of a marble queen pothos. So you have that smooth heart-shaped leaf with the marbled variegation, which surprisingly is kind of rare. Like I said, with pothos, you get the marble queen. And
oh, yes.
So anyways, I just love that it's just a little bit more special.
Yeah, totally.
But surprisingly, it has been very pricey. Do you see this price right here from Etsy? I pulled up a listing.
$400 for how? What size is that?
This is, I believe, a 3-inch. And I think
I don't know if they can see it, by the way. Can you give them a little close up? Like,
yeah, if you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see mine right here.
I have a story. Do you remember a few months, maybe it was like 6-8 months ago, because I'm a big like plant shop on Facebook Marketplace sort of person. I sent you a screenshot of an ad and I was like, is this really considered expensive? It's just a philodendron.
You're like,
it was like $150. And she's like, yeah, it's really expensive. And I was like,
you were like, what's the deal? It's just a marble queen. And I'm like, no, it's not.
You're like, Angelique, check your facts. It's really a philodendron.
Like, oh, you aren't aware.
I wasn't. I was just like, look at this, like this try hard trying to get like $200, $150 out of this plant. And she's like, yep, it's actually not that bad of a deal. I was like, oh.
And I think for this particular listing, I think it said like lightly rooted. So.
Ew.
So just only a little bit of roots, but
wow.
Anyways,
that's great. $400.
I guess. Well, honestly, to be fair, I never knew what this was until maybe like a year ago. I wasn't really aware of it.
It's gorgeous.
But I had thought about it. I'm like, I love the marble queen, but I love the shape of the philodendron a little bit more.
So you get the best of both.
They heard the people, and somehow
they heard Holly dreaming, and they're like, let's make her a little plant.
As if. But I wonder. I tried to do some research on this plant. I believe it's just a natural mutation, a natural variegation.
Wow.
I don't know if it's in TC or if it's massively cultivated, but
tissue culture, TC, right? Yeah.
But I do know that it's popping up, so it can't be that rare. But
yeah.
I love it.
Do you think it's more on that trendy scale? Like if you had to label it one, I mean, I know I think
it's up and coming. I don't know.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you got it in a trade, right?
I got it in a trade. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
There's also I didn't have this written down, but it just kind of reminds me, the variegated Philodendron Mikins.
Oh, yes.
I think I showed you a photo of that. That is
you have one, don't you?
I wish.
Oh, my bad.
I wish. It's just gorgeous because
I see it on every plant purge online. And it's
you do?
I feel like I do.
Wait.
I feel like I've heard this name all the time. Philodendron Mikins. I see it all the time.
But variegated though.
Oh, my bad.
Because I have a regular.
That's what I was thinking of.
I was like, where are you seeing this for
sale? Every day. I don't know.
Tell me, Angelique, now.
I have one. What? Imagine. No. Oh my God. You guys, I'm so ignorant. Okay,
no,
go ahead.
No, so that's all I was going to say. So, but
how much are those?
I don't, you know what? Let's take a quick look, but I don't think I even see them sold that often. That's what's so crazy about it.
So it truly has more of a rare sort of vibe.
I think I'm on airplane mode. I don't know if I can.
As long as you have Wi-Fi connected, you'll be good.
Oh, okay. But I think just what's so beautiful about it is that it's, variegated and velvety.
Variegated.
Ooh, pretty. See, it's not even coming up. It's just regular Mikins that are coming up.
So it might truly be rare.
Oh, but I did find a deal on a variegated Heterasium.
Let's hear it.
$315.
Wow, what a steal. Also, low key, as you guys know, Holly has a dog and your dog's eating a leaf outside. Just wanted to let you know. Is it fine?
Storm. I think it's probably fine.
Okay, we'll let you guys know if she's not fine, but I think she's fine. I think she's just being silly.
Yeah, I asked our vet, I'm like, why do you think they eat grass? He's like, I think dogs just like it. They just like eating it.
Cats too. My cat, he needs to be taken out every day on a backyard walk, and he just eats grass like it's crack. Wow. He goes crazy, and I have to be careful not to pick him up mid chew because
really?
He goes crazy. He just really loves a bit of grass. Such a little pothead.
Is it something like not catnip, like cat grass? Do you think that's what he thinks it is?
You know what? It must be. I think that's why cat grass that's you see sold at Petco and stuff is so successful because you know how they would say, I don't know if this is true or if it's a myth, but they would always say like dogs eat grass when they have tummy aches.
Right.
Cats apparently it's not for tummy aches. They just truly enjoy it. Like it doesn't hurt them in any way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You know, it's funny too because Fitzy, my cat, rarely goes after my plants, but if my spider plant is anywhere near him, he will probably eat the whole thing.
Oh, because it's fun. It's like
he loves it. But he wants to eat it.
Oh, so he's not just swatting. He's straight chomping.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I heard other people say too that it reminds their cat of cat grass or what?
Well, we're looking up at it right now. It's up high in the sky. It kind of has... It's definitely wider than grass.
That's what I'm thinking.
What are they called? Fronds? What's like a
grass blades?
Like a yes, but
blade of grass.
But it's blade like.
That's
if
probably
you think
why.
About it,
That's
it's
probably
very
why
thin. It's not a juicy plant at all.
No,
nope. My cat's more of a Peperomia boy himself. he loves a little pep. Drives me crazy. I have this super cute that little peperomia I have in the gray pot. My first peperomia.
Oh.
Peperomias.
I want to say obtusifolia.
That's what I want to say. I think it's wrong. No, I think you're right.
Okay.
It's somewhere, it's ish, probably. Yeah. I think Holly's always right. So it's probably that one. But like, it was like no blemishes. And anywhere you see just like blemishes, it just bites.
Little bite marks.
Oh, so annoying.
My God.
What do we got next?
All right. Well, our next plant, you guys guessed it. It's the Philodendron Spiritus Sancti, the Holy Grail.
And tell them where it's from. I can tell them where it's from.
You tell them where it's from.
It's from Estado de Espírito Santo in Brazil.
Yes.
And I was checking a map before this. I mean, you guys, I've seen this plant on Instagram. I don't know what it is. I don't remember the name. I'm just like, oh yeah, some skinny, long plant that reminds me of a horse with a really long face.
Oh, but I love it.
It's beautiful. No, oh my God. If I could have one, I would. Like, I think it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, that's what I think of. I think of like a llama with like a very long head.
Tell that to a person who spent 20 grand on it.
Oh my God.
Your plant kind of looks like a llama.
They opted out on a down payment for their house.
I'm sure they'd love that. Oh, thanks.
What an interesting little llama plant.
What a darling little plant.
Oh, where'd you get that? Trader Joe's? It's so cute.
I'm sure that would just, they'd be thrilled
I'm
to
sure
hear
we'd
that.
have a friendship for life. But Holly said this and I was like, that sounds like it's Brazilian. It's Portuguese. And so I look at the map. This state is really close to a very big city in Brazil called Belo Horizonte, and I have a lot of family there. So I was like,
that's so cool.
So I was like, Holly, I'll just put it in order. And she's like, it doesn't work like that.
Yes. So apparently there are only a handful of these left in the quote wild, but those ones are on a private farm that's like very protected and stuff. So cool,
that's
right?
Crazy.
So cool to think about.
Brazil is amazing plants, period.
Oh, I know, right?
God.
So this plant is what you'd call botanically rare, although there are more plants in cultivation than, in the wild.
Okay.
But which is good because, it does kind of help with preserving the plant, and so I think it's a good thing if you can be responsible about owning these quote rare plants, whether they be botanically rare or not.
Yeah.
I feel like cultivation is a good thing in that sense.
Like, you never want a plant to go extinct the way you should never want an animal to go extinct.
Right.
Like, even though we love plants that make us happy, like, they're not here for us. You know what I mean? And I think it's important to remember that, like, they are a part of our earth. So you shouldn't be greedy. Oh, yes, I'm going to get into a tangent. Yes. Let them live.
I know. So this plant has always been very expensive. I remember a few years ago, NSC Tropicals had one or two on their website.
How much?
It was $1,400. But dude, that's nothing now. That's nothing now. And I remember thinking,
that's a steal now. Like, that's impossible.
Think about it this way. If albos are going for like 10 grand plus.
Jesus Christ.
I did have someone on my Instagram over the summer sell one of theirs, and I think it went for like 20 grand. Which also kind of reminds me of like the variegated Ansonii. Those go for a lot, but anyways, we're talking about the Spiritus Sancti. Wow. Yeah, let's see. The cool thing though is that growers who do own this plant have often said that it's pretty easy to care for, unlike a lot of anthuriums and, things like that. Sorry, our dog.
Stormy has made herself known. Do you want me to grab her really quick?
Sure.
You keep chatting him up. I'm just here to help.
Oh, there we go.
Backup has come on in.
Tyson.
I got a break.
But yeah, so I think that is really cool because I love rare plants. But if they're easy and rare, oh, they have my heart.
Please.
Yeah.
Whew. It's getting warm. That's really cool. Is it remind me what, like, is it a philodendron?
It's a philodendron.
Oh, cool.
It has very long leaves. I think they can get up to like 29 inches or it's like skinny.
So like,
it kind of,
like that.
And the thing is, it's a hemi-epiphytic plant. So I believe that starts growing epiphytically.
So it can grow on like trees and
stuff
stuff
in
the
trees.
wild. Yeah.
Now this particular plant, when I look at the picture, it doesn't necessarily look
Beautiful.
like a climber like you would see a Philodendron Congo, right?
Even a Monstera.
Or a Monstera.
Yeah.
But it kind of like goes outward. Like they kind of like spread
It's
in a circle.
Yeah.
So pretty.
And they get big and not bushy in like a dense way, but they really.
Yeah. Like this picture we're looking at, there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8 to 10 leaves.
In one little pot. Like that looks like maybe an 8-inch pot.
You know what? There's 2 pots.
Whatever. What a little sneak. So probably like maybe you can split the difference, maybe 4 per pot.
Yeah.
Still gorgeous. Oh my
gorgeous
God.
plant. So I think
together,
that's all
dude.
I have. I know, right? And I believe it's only ever been found in Brazil. And that's the cool thing about it, growing at a certain elevation. And I think that's all I had to really say about it. But I think it's gorgeous.
It's beautiful. Do you know anyone in your personal plant life that has one?
A few people.
Oh my God. Do you know the numbers? I don't know if we're allowed to share. Like
how much they paid?
Mm-hmm.
I don't
That's all
know.
I care about.
I imagine they probably paid a pretty penny for it, but I don't know. This was like a few years
Probably
ago.
auctioned off one of their children or something. That's crazy.
Yeah, a friend of mine has like 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
3? I took that in and then I heard it 10 seconds later. You know what
You're
I mean?
like, wait, what?
Do you know like time period more or less when they acquired each? Like, 'cause I wonder if there was like a change, price shift.
I don't know. It was 2 years ago, so I don't know.
Probably popping already.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'd be terrified to ship it.
Yeah,
I'm guessing they probably bought it abroad. Maybe they bought it from Brazil, or do you think there must be local?
Maybe like other collectors,
domestic sellers. Oh, that's true. Oh my gosh. I wonder, do you know how it is to root? I know philodendrons in general aren't too hard to root.
Yeah, I don't, honestly, other than I've been told it's an easy plant, I don't know much about.
If it's an easy plant, it's probably easy to root too.
Yeah. Now, if you look at the picture here, it doesn't look like it puts a lot of like nodes. It kind of looks like a, not so much a crawling plant, but sort of more like how the Birkins grow and more like a rosette or like the Prince of Orange. Now, of course, I could be wrong. So if you guys actually know, please correct us. Please. But that's just what I can tell from looking at the photo.
Yeah. What a photo. That's crazy.
I know.
Ooh, another philodendron. Do you think philodendrons take the cake for like fancy schmancies?
Well, aside from very rare Hoyas, because Hoyas are getting expensive too.
You got in while you still could.
Except I don't have a gray ghost.
We'll get there. We're working on it. Okay.
If anybody wants to trade me,
I'll give you everything. My house will be empty after.
But yeah, so primarily what I have on the list are philodendrons, but it's what the people want to hear, so that's what we're going to talk about.
You guys called and we answered. So
if you guys want a part 2, we could definitely do that down the road. That would be fun.
Yeah, what do we got next?
Okay, so the last plant,
caramel latte.
Yeah.
Just
philodendron. People say caramel marble. I say caramel marble.
I think that's, if you say caramel, you couldn't say caramel in your everyday life, but to me, if you're in front of me and you say caramel marble, I'm gonna slap you. Caramel marble is the funnest thing to say I've ever said. Caramel marble. I am like, you said this the other day and I was like, and I think it might have been Nicole that mentioned this. I'm not sure. Plant mommy, hey. And I was like, oh my God, this is so much fun to say.
I know.
I just want to say it all day. Caramel marble.
It's so fun. So if you guys are familiar with like the Philodendron jungle boogie, it has like a saw-like shaped leaf. This is like a variegated version of that.
Jungle Boogie.
You haven't seen
A
that?
little monster in the jungle, a little boogie.
Well, just imagine these leaves, more so like the Ring of Fire, this picture here, but all green. So there's kind of like two parts to this. We have the Ring of Fire, which is only like $150 to $300, depending on size. Then you have the Caramel Marble, which is in like the 4-digit range, like $4,000, $8,000, something like that.
Christ.
I know. Now, I have pictures here, so sorry, you guys. I'm sure you've seen the hashtags, but looking at the two, the Ring of Fire has more variegation that resembles that of a Thai constellation. It's very speckly.
Speckly, yes, that's a good word.
Orangey, pinky yellow. Yes. Now, with the Caramel Marble, it kind of reminds me of like a strawberry shake type variegation, but more orangey and a little bit pink. And then, of course, the shape of the leaves are much different.
And very paint strokey.
Yes.
Sort of look.
And some of them can come out sectoral, but they're also very marbly and paint strokey. Yeah.
Can you define sectoral, please?
Okay, this is sectoral right here.
Sectoral. I'm like, suctoral.
So if you guys see a half moon on a variegated Monstera, you could call that sectoral, or just like chunks versus like this is just
that's more speckly and splash.
Or you could say marbled. So if you take a look at my Albo Syngonium, that would be marbled, but then the chunks. I think a lot of
people know what the variegated Syngonium is. That's a good example.
Yeah, and it just means chunky.
Chunky monkeys.
It's just a fancier way of saying it.
You guys, I'm learning so much.
I'm just a nerd.
Wow, and it looks funny and too. The underbelly is that where the caramelness name comes from?
I don't know exactly.
Maybe that's such a dead.
I think
leaf.
It's just overall.
Oh, okay.
I think not dead. I think this one came out completely yellow. I think that's the point of this photo.
Very cool photo that you found.
Yeah, so this is, as I said, very sought after at the moment, around the 4-digit range. The leaves can reach up to 14 inches in width and 2 feet long. What? Yeah.
I just realized you said width, not length. So I was like, oh, that's a pretty small leaf. Like, wow.
This looks like a grown man's arm in this photo holding
and it's
this
passing
pot.
his elbow. Yeah. Oh my God, that's like a tank top. Like, put that in front of your torso.
Exactly.
Wow, that's amazing. So that's like the Monsteras you see that get huge in the wild.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
I just think it's so beautiful. Now, I feel like this has always been the most expensive. Like, if we are talking about the Ring of Fire, Jungle Boogie, so I don't know. I think it's really pretty. Wow. I don't know if I'm going to own one anytime soon, but you never know.
Just see one. You're walking down the street. You just see one on the ground. You're like, well.
Now, in regards to variegation, I have been told that the Ring of Fire is stable, but I don't know about the Caramel Marble.
Oh.
I don't know.
See, and for me, when it comes to like buying and collecting, it's hard for me to want to put money down if it's an unstable plant like the elbow.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. That's crazy.
And I tried to look it up, but sometimes it can be a little hard to find plant information. And which is really funny because we were talking about how like, oh, I'm a nerd. I always thought that being so into plants was dorky, and I talked to my friend Jen about this too. She's like, I think it's dorky too. Like we were like having this conversation like, I think we're just nerds, but now it's cool, I guess.
You guys are in right now.
For now.
I mean, get it while it's hot, I guess.
But I would love to like have more like information like out there, because sometimes it is very hard to get information on a particular plant, I've noticed.
Right. Well, even with the one that I love, is it the Piper Parmadam? No, that's not it. The Piper.
It is a Piper plant.
Alocasia. No.
What are you talking?
The one you gave me that's a Piper. Think I'm dead.
I forget the name of it though.
But it's like a Piper. I thought it was Pastazanum, but I think I'm making that up.
That's Philodendron Pastazanum.
Yep, that's what that is. Yep. Piper, you know what? You guys keep talking. But pretty much, I'll look it up really quick. It is this plant that I love that apparently, like, it's, when I see it on purges, it's fairly pricey, but it's not, you can find it for under 100 for sure.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing, but there's no info on how to take care of it.
I know. It's very strange. It's kind of also, too, the Monstera genus, there's not a whole lot of information on either, and information on it either. And if you guys follow, what's his name, Mitty, something like that, he is he's devoted a lot of time to exploring the Monstera genus. It's one of his favorites, and yeah, if you guys don't follow him already, he's really awesome. But he was saying too that there's not a whole lot of described species of Monstera, or I mean, obviously we know a lot about Monstera, but we don't know that much about it, which I think is
There's still
so
a long
wild.
ways to go.
Yeah.
I think, is it the Piper Parmadam?
Yes, that is it.
Got it. Took a minute.
We knew that.
I freaking love this plant. And
Yeah.
I had to go onto a Reddit thread, one lone Reddit thread being like, does anyone know how to take care of this plant? Someone's like, what is that plant? And then the other person's like, I don't know. I have one. It seems to kind of like to be treated like a peperomia, but I'm not sure. And
Or like a terrarium plant.
That's all I got.
And that's how it
sticks at my house.
It's funny too, because that's how it was a couple years ago. Everybody said, oh, no one knows about this plant. So I don't know.
Who's keeping the secret? I'd be like, a couple years to have no progress. It's a little shady. I don't know. But
well, honestly, sometimes I wonder if there's not enough demand for people to find out about these plants.
I think it's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Maybe though, you could be right.
You know, like
crazy.
if people aren't going to be buying it a lot, are people going to spend their time to like write blog posts about it, or,
Right.
you know, whatever it is. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Out of, because is that it for our list today?
That's it.
Out of everything that because Holly, she did a lot of the heavy lifting on this episode with like finding which ones were like, you know, after we did our poll with you guys and really just like doing the deep digging on all the info, like out of everything we've mentioned today, if you could only have one, no money. If I could hand you one right now that we just mentioned today, which one would it be? Only one.
Let me
Don't
take
get
a
greedy.
look. Okay, well, it would if I had to pick between we'll do a recap. Variegated Heterasium,
Which I thought was
Spiritus-
the marble queen.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
the Spiritus Sancti,
Brazil.
or the caramel marble. I'm gonna go with the Spiritus Sancti.
Ooh, what's your reasoning?
It's just because like it feels like a
Special.
celebrity of plants. Like it
Yes.
just feels like something so unattainable. It's like something that I'll never own.
Yeah.
That it would, and also it's gorgeous. Like having it
It's beautiful.
sitting on a shelf, even if you didn't know how special it was, I think it could speak for itself. So I think that, and remember, it's easy apparently.
Right. We don't want any bitches. So.
We don't want any fussy plants.
Yes.
So what about you? I want to know what you would pick.
So let's see. You know, it's so dumb. Just finding out it's from Brazil. I want that one. Be like, look, Mom, I made it. But low key, it's really tough. I don't want to like copy you, but I kind of want to say that one. But if not, definitely
The Variegated
this
Heterasium.
little nugget. Yeah, that one. Hereditatum. Heterasium.
Or it's sometimes called cordatum, or just Hartley philodendron.
Heterasium. That's a good tongue warm up. That's good.
Yeah.
Tongue twister. That one like makes my heart flutter. But I think at the end of the day, knowing the history of the Spiritus Sancti. Oh, it's from
Spiritus
Spiritus
Sancti.
I'm thinking of the town, of the state.
Spiritus Santos, where
The
it's from.
Spiritus Sancti. Like hearing, like now knowing its history and like where it comes from, it feels really special.
Yeah.
But you know, something you said that you just said a few minutes ago, even not knowing what you had on your shelf value wise, my heart is warmed when you hear those stories about someone not knowing what they had. Like I was on, I don't think it was Plant Purge USA, but one of the big Facebook groups, and a girl, I think it might have been on either like SoCal, Rare Plant, whatever, one of those. This girl posted a picture of her friend's plant. She's like, I just went to visit my friend. I tagged you in this. Mm-hmm. And she has a trailing pink princess that she's had for at least 5 years that someone gifted her as like tiny little something from Trader Joe's or whatever. This girl was not into plants at all. She kept it alive. Like she liked it, but she wasn't a collector. Yeah. Had no idea that it was valuable. And honestly, at least 6 feet, right? 5 to 6 feet in trails.
Yeah.
And this girl posted it, and there were people literally being like, tell your friend I'll pay $5,000 for that.
Jesus.
Like people were ravenous. They were going psycho. And she was like, hundreds of comments later, just chatted with my friend. She's really happy to know what she has. She's going to consider maybe some cuttings, but she's definitely keeping the plant to herself.
Yeah.
And I was like, good for you.
I know.
But it was so cool because she just loved maybe the person that gave it to her, just loved that it brightened up her house. And she just, you know, of course it's nice to know what you have. Of course, I'd rather know than not know, but it was just like so heartwarming. And I feel like that happens more often than you think, of just someone just has something and
it's
just
so true.
Just
or
is what it is.
You know, if we think back to the Paul who we met today, you can genuinely tell he loves his plants so much. Same thing with Jerry and Eagle Rock.
Oh yeah, I don't think, have we talked about Jerry on the show?
I thought
he's maybe not. He's like, I feel like Paul is the West Side grandpa and Jerry is the East Side grandpa in LA of plants. Jerry lives in Eagle Rock and he's had this home for like
40
since like
years?
the 80s or 70s.
I think 75 or something.